What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Punk Rock Radar. Today, we are doing the most requested band I've had since we started the tier list series. We're doing the Ramones. We're going to hit 14 albums, including the cover album that I did not listen to, fair warning. And I've got two mega Ramones fans with me to tackle this because I this is my first time really delving deep into the catalog with the deep tracks. So I got a couple experts here. Dylan, how do you feel about ranking these Ramones albums? I know you're a huge fan.
I am very concerned for you, but I feel pretty. I decided on my seeding of these albums like a month ago, so I'm ready to rock.
All right. And Karina, I feel like you're kind of in the middle of me and Dylan. Like we've been talking back and forth about our lists. Are you settled now and everything?
I think, yeah.
You got it. I refined my list today after I needed to get through the last three albums today, so I hedged off the cover album. But let's just get straight into it. We got 14 records here. We don't have a lot of time for small talk. So Dylan, I'm gonna pass it to you first. We've got the 1976 debut album, the self-titled Ramones record. What are you gonna do with this one?
Let's go shoot them in the back now.
All right, I'm gonna take some of the heat off of you right now. I don't know where you put it, but I can already see the comments. I got it in B. I got this in the B tier. The songs are good. It's obviously probably one of the most, if not the most, culturally significant punk rock albums of all time. But I like stuff after this better. So it was very tough to do this, but I got it in the B tier as a very strong B plus.
All right, Karina, can you save us here? Dylan's going B on the 1976 debut. Where are you putting it?
Well, it's actually my A tier, but I mostly agree with what Dylan he has to say about it. It's one of those groundbreaking Ramones albums. I think that basically was an influence for a lot of the later scene music. So, but I like it. It's fun. It's okay. It's good. It's good. Okay. I like it. My basic bitch energy. Likes it.
All right. I think I'm gonna go B as well. I wrote down A, so I'm actually gonna go B. I'm looking at the track list here. I mean, you got some of the classics on there, but I think there's some more later on that may be more deserving of my A tier. So I'm gonna go with Dylan. I'm gonna go B. Karina, I'm going to pass it to you for Leave Home, the second album released in 1977. What are your thoughts on this one?
I wrote you my thoughts earlier about this one. This is my S tier. I'm actually putting it high because I felt that while it does sound like a lot like the debut, and it was released nearly 9 months after it just has a more cleaner and more confident sound in their playing and in the lyrics. So I really enjoy this one. I also think it's my most played album from the Ramones.
All right, so we got an S tier on Leave Home for Karina. Dylan, what about you?
This one was hard too. I mean, the first three albums, especially the second and third, are very close for me. But I made the tough decision. It's in my A tier. There's some all-time classic Ramones songs on this album, along with the previous one. Stuff that lived on in their live set list like forever. If you listen to any Ramones live record, there's a lot of shit off this album that they played live until the 90s. But I don't want to spoil it, but I like a certain other one with some pink letters on the cover a little bit more than this one.
All right. I agree with both of what you guys said, especially the last thing Dylan said. But I'm gonna go S on this one too. I think my favorite song on here is "Susie is a Headbanger." I don't think that's too crazy. And on this one, I can kind of hear the first of where like bands like the Queers. That's what the band I kept hearing on this album is the Queers, where they kind of got that sound. I feel like the Ramones core really shines through on this album. I could hear a ton of bands that took influence from this. So I'm gonna go S on here. It's one of the ones for influence. I go off the rails a little bit later on, but not on this next one. But Dylan, I'm gonna pass it to you first. We've got Rocket to Russia. Next, I think this is the Pink you were referring to earlier.
Rock, rock, rock away, bitch. Rock, rock, rock away, bitch.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be my first politically correct pick. This is definitely my favorite of the first three albums. There's just there's no skippers on this one. Cretin Hop, Rockaway Beach. I guess Here Today, Gone Tomorrow. I'm not massively into that, but excellent album. Definitely my favorite of the three. This was easy for me to put this one in S.
Yeah, I'm S all the way. This is my favorite Ramones album too. It has my two favorite Ramones songs, Rockaway Beach and Teenage Lobotomy. So easy S. So Karina, what are you gonna do? You gonna follow suit and put it in S, or you got a hot take for us?
Of course, I'm putting it in S. I love like side 2 with Surfing Bird and Why Is It Always This Way. I think these songs are so good. But it's also a fun fact, the last album with the original drummer Tommy.
All right, well,
Producer.
Tommy's shining through on this one. That one's seems like it's up there for all of us. But Karina, I'm gonna let you keep rolling here. We got Road to Ruin, released in 1978. What are your thoughts here?
24 hours ago, I wanna be today.
I was reading, I got sent like this weird chart of like how bands progress album wise, and it always goes like first one unpolished, rough, second one still in the same genre, third one like evolving, and then fourth one going into like some weird pop phase. And that's what I feel about their fourth album. Actually, I'm not saying it's totally pop, so please don't kill me in the comments, YouTube, but it is a little attempt on going a bit more pop rock kind-ish, and I'm putting it in my B tier because I don't really I didn't really resonate with it, to be honest.
And Dylan, what are your thoughts?
Let me just so I'm clear. You said pop rock. You think this they go more pop rock? Or punk rock?
Pop.
I mean, there's a few songs like "Don't Come Close" and "Needles and Pins" are pretty like cheesy pop songs, but I mean, there was stuff like that on the earlier records. But I think there's still a lot of punk shit on here. It's definitely, I think, it's not, they don't regress from the first three records, but I don't think this really holds a candle to Leave Home or Rocket. So I got this one an A. It's a pretty strong A. I mean, it's Marky's first record and his first stint. I Want to Be Sedated's obviously, I'd say that's their second most popular song after Blitzkrieg Bop. But yeah, there's still a lot of punk shit on here. Like I Wanted Everything's a pretty hard song. Go Mental. Like there's still a lot of punk stuff on here. I would say the majority of the album is still true to their original sound.
Yeah, the last two songs are really good too. I like Bad Brain and It's a Long Way Back. So I'm going with Dylan. I'm going A on this one as well. I feel like the slump doesn't happen just yet. So Dylan and I are pretty lockstep so far, it looks like. And yeah, we've all got just SAB so far. But I think maybe, guys, it starts to get a little bit weird.
A little dicey.
This is where things start to shift a little bit. We've got End of the Century from 1980. Karina, if you want to take us through this one first, what are your thoughts on this one?
Actually, I like this album, and I have a good personal story with this album. So for me, I'm putting it in my A tier because of what the shit that's to come. I like. Do you remember Rock and Roll Radio and Let's Go? I think these are good numbers, and I Can't Make It on Time and All the Way. Also, but it does start going down from there. But yeah, this was more a personal pick than it was a is it good or bad pick.
All right, Dylan, end of the century. What are your thoughts?
I fucking hate this album.
Do
I
you?
hate it. I hate it so much, and it's not because of the song so much as I hate the production. It is horrible. I'm sure anyone who knows anything about the Ramones knows this was the Phil Spector album. I guess Joey led the charge to work with Phil Spector, and he was kind of the golden boy in the recording studio on this, but the guitar's sound is just so fucking terrible. Rock and roll radio, you can't even hear the guitar because there's so much stupid shit going on with all the horns and stuff. The live versions of these songs sound great. And if you on Spotify, the deluxe reissue, it has the demos. The demos of these songs, especially like Danny Says, they sound completely different. It's not, they sound like Ramones songs, but the production just ruins it for me. I have a really hard time listening to this album, so it's my first D tier.
Damn, you went D. I'd put it in C after I heard you started to talk about it because I was like, oh, there's definitely stuff worse than this. But you went full D on this one. I'm gonna go B. I'm going right in the middle of you guys. I think Let's Go is a good song, and All the Way is another decent track on there. There's definitely ones that I don't like more than this one. So I'm gonna go B here, and then we're gonna lead right into the next one. Pleasant. I always say Pleasant Screams. It's Pleasant Dreams. Dylan, if you wanted to take us into here from 1981, did they get any better? Are you still in the D range?
The gang took my baby away, took her away from it.
Yeah, I mean, Phil Spector didn't work on it. I forget who produced it, but they were in between main producers, and they were kind of trying to find their sound at this point. I think that they wanted to go for. It is an improvement from End of the Century. It's definitely not one of my favorite albums. Though the production is a lot less offensive, I really don't like the lack of distortion or whatever on the guitars. The guitars sound a little too clean. We Want the Airwaves is awesome. KKK.
Yeah.
7-Eleven. There's a lot of good songs, but just something about it just doesn't have the balls that I want in a Ramones album. So this is a C.
Okay, that's fair. Karina, Pleasant Dreams. What are you doing?
It's a C for me too. I agree with everything Dylan says on this one, but it's just like it's boring. It's safe. It's from the 80s, man. We're going into a period of the Ramones where I refuse to acknowledge anything.
I feel like we're gonna get to Dylan's heyday pretty soon. I'm putting it in B for now, but you guys have got me rethinking. So like I posted on Instagram and Karina said I was cheating. I said, what's the best Ramones album from the 80s? And it was like unanimously people said this one, which I found pretty surprising. But it was enough for me, like that I listened to it a couple more times. I was like, it's decent. It's got KKK, which is, a great song. So I'm in B. It may be fluid. I may move it down in a little bit. But Dylan, since you kind of referenced it, I want to see if this is the album you're talking about where things get better for you, Subterranean Jungle, because this is one personally, man, I could not really get down with. So what are you doing with this one from 83?
I keep harping on the production. They fucked up the drum sound. They fucked it up so bad. Marky turned into his alcoholism just spiraled out of control, and they kicked his ass out of the band. That snare, man, that is like the Saint Anger snare of punk rock. But instead of like blasting your eardrums out, it sounds so like pathetic. Again, dude, like there's a lot of good songs. There's too many covers. The first 2 songs are covers. But Psychotherapy, that's like top 10 Ramones songs for me. That almost saves the album for me. Time Bomb's all right. What else? Somebody Like Me. I really like that song. I think that's pretty underrated. Highest Trails, Outsider. It's gonna be my next D.
Oof.
Too many covers, shitty drum sound.
Yeah, it's my first D, by the way. So I'll just say it. I thought I was gonna be alone on this one because I mean, Outsider is a fantastic song, and I heard that first on when Green Day covered it on Shenanigans. I didn't know it was a Ramones song till much later, but I've still got an attachment to that. And then, like you said, Psychotherapy is a good one, but it wasn't enough for me either. I was very, very bored through this one, so it's my first D. Karina, any different from us? What are you doing with Subterranean Jungle?
It's a D for me too.
D. Wow, the triple D. Okay, that's rare.
But it's because I feel like this album, there's like a lot of pressure on each other privately during this period of time that I feel like they all hate each other, and it just comes through on the album. They're trying to sabotage each other and the band, and it just really shines through on it. But I agree with the Psychotherapy. It's a good song.
I actually think the fucked up drum sound works well on Psychotherapy. Like something about it. It works for me.
And if you guys want to read more about the drama, I've talked to Dylan about this book before. I love this book. Dylan said it's his least favorite Ramones book, but the one that Monty wrote about the band, I learned a lot in here. I didn't know a lot about the Ramones, but I read that book. I enjoyed it. But let's move on here. Karina, I'm gonna let you walk us through the next one here. We've got Too Tough to Die. A lot of people like this one too, so I'm curious where you're gonna put this one from '84. Ooh, look at that face.
I mean, this was the album I had one of the hardest times with. It's in D. It's in C. Sorry. It's just I don't really have that much to say. It's not that memorable for me. Even when I was listening to it, I kept on looking at how many songs I had left. It was kind of one of those. It's okay. It has some good songs. Like I like the heavier sound that comes from the hardcore, and a bit of like what I feel could be a bit metal sound on the instruments. But meh, it's
all right. So when I said some people like this, I was talking about Dylan. I know that he loves this album. So Dylan, what are your counterpoints for what Karina said?
This is my favorite Ramones album.
Oh my god.
Dude, it's so good. It's so good. Richie Ramone, he brought the balls back. This is it isn't their like hardest album. It's pretty tough sounding, as the name suggests. Dude, I love this fucking album, man. I do not skip any songs. The sequencing could use some work. There's a dude, he resequenced the album and he made a playlist called Now Even Tougher to Die or something. It's sequenced a little better, but I really don't care how it's sequenced. Every song's good. That transition from Durango into Warthog is elite. One of the best like 1-2 punches in the history of punk rock. Danger Zone kicks ass. The poppy stuff kicks ass. The weird like synthesizer shit going on. I like it. I'm all for it, dude. Endless Vacation, I can kind of take or leave that one, but everything else on this album is fucking killer. S++.
Damn. All right. Dylan, I'm with Karina. I'm going C.
You guys are wrong.
I think
I'm sorry.
I think what you were saying makes sense though. Like I felt like this album should have started at track 4. I think those first 3 songs are throwaways. And I think like the end is kind of boring too. Like the last 2 songs are a little boring. Like the meat of this album is in the middle. And I like an album with like an opener that blows me away. And Mama's Boy absolutely does not. I skipped it like 3 or 4 times. So I'm gonna go C on Too Tough to Die. And Dylan, I feel like I did C because I knew that you liked it so much. I just didn't care for it. Now let's move on here to the next one. This is the point, at least for me, where I think things really get weird. This is like full on 80s. Dylan, Animal Boy, 1986. What are your thoughts?
This one gets a downgrade from me. I think it's the weakest of the 3 Richie Ramone albums. That said, I still kind of like it. They got some dude from the Plasmatics or whatever, that synth player or keyboard player from the Plasmatics produced it. And it is very 80s. There's a lot of synthesizer stuff going on. I got it in C. I do have quite a few songs I do enjoy. Somebody put something in my drink. Animal Boy, Bonzo, She Belongs to Me. That's another top 10 Ramones song for me. And Something to Believe in. That's another top 10. 2 top 10 Ramones songs on this album. I got it in the C tier.
2 top 10 songs and it's going in the C tier. That just tells you how bad the rest of it is for me. But Karina, what are you doing with it?
I actually didn't mind this album at all. I think it's funny how we can all be so interested in punk, but still like it's refreshing and we all had such a different taste when it comes to the old stuff. I actually put this one in B, but that's only because I really enjoy when punk bands become political and decide to attack the American president. I think that's funny for me. But also, yeah, Something to Believe in. I really enjoyed that song. And yeah, Animal Boy and Somebody Put Something in My Drink. Also, I don't know if it's something sentimental in me, but I also like She Belongs to Me. I think it's a very, very cute number. I hope there's not a bad story behind it, because that might me come back in a few months and revisit my list and change it completely.
It's got potential.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it was a nice album. I mean, it was like a bit tougher punk, with, well, a lot of pop moments over it. But I think it's for me, this is when stuff really starts taking a turn for the worst.
Yeah, that's why I thought this would be the one we all had in D, not Subterranean Jungle. This is my least favorite Ramones album. Like I think that it gets pretty bad later on, but like this one, I hated this record. There's like 1 or 2 songs I was like, all right, this is okay, but just a complete flop. I'll probably never listen to this record again. Just being completely honest with you guys. But we'll move on because the next one's a little weird too, but for like a different reason. This one has got like a much heavier feel to it. We're like knee deep in hair metal right now. 1987. We got Halfway to Sanity. So Karina, I'm curious whether you like this change in the band, the little harder, tougher edge to it, or did you not like it? So what are you doing? Halfway to Sanity.
I give what I got to give. I give what I need to live.
I felt it was more like hard rock than it was punk. I mean, I'm all for bands growth, even musical growth, and like discovering different sides of genres and all that. It's a C for me. I just it's not good. That is my honest opinion here.
I think there was
Dylan-
words there.
I'm trying to be nice. We have been told that we can be mean, so now I'm trying to be nice.
We've got 190 songs. We can't always be nice. It's just the way it is.
No.
It's simple math. Dylan, what are you gonna do with Halfway to Sanity?
I like it. Not as much as a lot of other stuff, but I do like it. I Wanna Live's awesome. Garden of Serenity's awesome. I think I Know Better Now is great. I believe Richie wrote that song. Death of Me's okay. Real Cool Time's okay. Little Camaro's okay. There's some weird shit. Worm Man is weird. I'm Not Jesus. They go a little bit too hardcore on that one, in my opinion. I got it in B. Pretty solid B.
Man,
The cover art is badass.
Yeah. Okay, that leads to my story here, actually. And Dylan, you've got a nice symmetrical list so far. So this was actually my first Ramones album. I bought this like when I was getting really into punk, and I just went to the Ramones section. I was like, look at this freaking cover. Like, how could I not buy this one? And this kind of like, it gave me a bad taste about the Ramones. I was like, this is the band that everybody likes. This is the band everybody's wearing shirts for. So was kind of a rough start for me. Like I'd heard the singles here and there, but I don't hate this one. I think it's way better than Animal Boy. So I'm gonna go C. I actually had it up in B and I switched it with Pleasant Dreams right before we started, because there's a few good ones, but definitely don't love this album. So
shout out to Weasel Face too. Weasel Face is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the one I wrote down. I think that's a good track. Let's see where we're going. We're finally on Brain Drain, 1989. Dylan, take it away. This is an interesting one.
I don't wanna be buried in a pet cemetery.
Talking about cover art, what a weird cover. What a weird ass cover, man. This is also in B, but this is a B minus. The tier within the tier. Drum sounds weird. Very heavy drum sound. Kind of drowns out the rest of everything. It just overall it sounds very flat. Like there's not very much life in the recording or production of this album. It feels like there's a few really great songs. I Believe in Miracles is incredible. Pet Sematary, again, probably one of their most popular songs, but then you just get a lot of weird kind of fillery stuff. Some people like Palisades Park. I don't really like that, like circus music kind of shit going on. Ignorance is Bliss is different. So B minus on this one.
B minus. All right, Karina, Brain Drain. What are you doing with it?
B for me, actually. I mean, I agree definitely with Dylan. Like it's B minus, but I really enjoyed Pet Sematary. But I'm also a huge Stephen King fan. So that's all I have to say about that one.
Okay. Well, I agree with almost everything Dylan said too, but I'm going A on this one. I think it sounds similar to Halfway to Sanity, but the production's worse, but the songs are much better. So I don't know. I kind of like the heavy feel of this one. The cover art's badass. This is the one I listened to most the last couple weeks because I was pretty unfamiliar with it. So maybe this will change down the road, but for now, I'm going high. I'm putting this above the debut. I'm putting it above End of the Century, so I expect the hate train to be rolling on me hard. But let's move to the next one, because I'll roll listen to this one too, because I got more hate coming to me, because I'm putting Mondo Bizarro in the A tier too. I think this one has the best production of all the Ramones albums. I told Dylan this earlier. I think this one sounds the most like the punk rock that I listen to. I really think they hit their stride here. The first two songs are awesome. I feel like they would hold up to a lot of albums that come out today. So I'm going A on Mondo Bizarro. Dylan, thoughts on this one?
Well, I just wanna walk right out of this world.
Yeah, I mean, Richie, I think gave the Ramones their second wind, and I think CJ gave him that their third wind. He kind of reinvigorated the band. He was the youngest guy when he came into the fold. Um, it's a really strong album, but compared to some of the earlier stuff, I would take like Rocket to Russia and stuff like that over it. It's a real strong C, man. It's really strong. There's a lot of very underrated songs on this album. Censor Shit, Poison Heart. That's another one in the top 10 for me. Strength to Endure. CJ sings on that song. Super solid. Even stuff like Touring. Like I see a lot of people shit on Touring. It was actually on. It was a B-side for Pleasant Dreams, but they put it on this album. They re-recorded it and released it on this album officially. I even like that song. It sounds exactly like another song that the title escapes me, but it's cool. And then honorable mention, It's Gonna Be Alright. Like a love song to your fan base. What more could you ask for, dude? I love it.
It's classy. So
C++.
man, but you went low after all that. All right. So Karina, you still got a spot left in A. Is this gonna claim it? What are you doing with Mondo
It is
Bizarro?
actually.
There we go. Nice.
But I'm born in 92, so of course it's going to be up. I'm kidding. I'm not doing it like that. I just really, yeah, I think it's a good album. It's strong. I mean, the cover art's fucked up, so it has to be a good album if it's that bad cover art. It looks like something that a toddler drew in paint. So
Well, you want to know why it's like that, I guess. Johnny Ramone like thought that they were starting to look old. So like if you look at this and like halfway to Sanity, like it's almost impossible to see like discern what their faces look like. And I guess that's because he wanted to create the like illusion that they were still like a young band, I guess.
That's funny. I don't think the faces on End of the Century were selling any records, to be honest. That's another odd picture. But let's move on here. We've got the cover album that I admittedly didn't listen to, so I'm gonna pass it to Karina. We've got Acid Eaters here with some badass psychedelic 70s, 60s style art here. What are you doing with this one?
most of the songs that are covered here are actually from the 60s. You have songs by The Who, The Rolling Stones. You have Somebody to Love by The Great Society. I'm just gonna say it. As someone who should have been born in the 60s, I love a lot of these bands, but I do not love the Ramones covers. Therefore, it's in my D. I regret nothing.
All right. I'd be surprised if it's not in all of our D, but Dylan, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've made my position clear on cover albums. It's in my D. It's not bad, but kind of just a de facto D, because if I had to choose between this and the 13 other Ramones records to listen to one, I wouldn't be going with this one. I like Surf City. Beyond that, I mean, there's not a whole lot to write home about on here. Yeah, it's a D.
All right. So Dylan, I'm gonna let you keep rolling here because this is something I didn't see coming because you only have one spot left, and we are on Adios Amigos. Did I miscalculate, or is this an A album for you?
When I see the price of you, babe, I don't wanna grow.
It's a A. It's a fucking A, dude. I contemplated whether this or the self-titled album was gonna be an A for me, but ultimately I went with Adios Amigos because I listened to it way more than the self-titled album. I think this is probably one of the strongest like last albums by any band ever. And I think it's the closest representation of what the Ramones live sound was from. Obviously, I never saw them live because I'm 27, but listening to live recordings and then listening to this, there's no additional instruments like keyboards and stuff for the most part. It's very stripped down and basic and straightforward. There's a ton of great songs. It's Not For Me to Know, The Crusher, which was on Dee Dee Ramone's rap album originally. I kind of like that version a little more. Life's a Gas is great. Take the Pain Away. Have a Nice Day. I love Have a Nice Day. Who can't relate to that song? Yeah, man. Strong ass A. I love this album. I listen to it a lot.
Man, you're selling me on it a little bit. Karina, did he shift you at all? Because right now you've only got a spot in D.
Oh no, he hasn't, sadly.
So what don't you like about this that it's going in the D tier?
I just think they should have stopped a bit before. There's nothing like this sounds good and everything. I don't know, it just didn't really do anything, but I do like my Ramones.
You don't like the Tom Waits cover?
No. But I'm not a huge Tom Waits fan to begin with, so it's kind of like, I mean, Making Monsters for My Friends, that's actually a good number.
Yeah,
that's one of my least favorite songs.
Well, that's my favorite on this by a mile. It's not even close. But
I just think it's a good number, and like it's Not For Me to Know. I think that song's also a bit relatable to people, but I mean, as I said,
very somber song.
Some of us like somber. If you don't know, I am like sad punk, a sad girl, autumn punk. Like if we have sad girl winter, Taylor Swift, we have Karina, and I will find the saddest punk songs ever, and I will make a playlist.
You should like this album. Then there's what's it called? She Talks to Rainbows.
But it's just too sad.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
It's too sad, dude.
Take the Pain Away. That's a pretty sad song.
Born to Die in Berlin. I mean,
pretty sad.
Come on. This can't get any sadder. But I mean, respect. It was recorded during the time where the band was pretty much dying.
So is it true where like they decided they were gonna break up based on the success of this album? Is that true?
I mean, I read Johnny Ramone's book and he says something to that effect, but they're getting old, man. And
yeah.
They're sick, and I guess Joey was on the brink of death for like the last 10 years of his life or something, so.
All right, well, I gave it a C just because I think putting a sombrero on a Tyrannosaurus is hilarious. So that's where it ends up for me. I wasn't impressed with the album really. Like I said, I think Making Monsters is the best song, but it was gonna be a C or a D for me. That I like it better than all three of my C's, but I like it not as much as my other C's. So there it is. This is our tier list, guys. So
are we ranking the live albums?
I go for it. You want to? Where would you put the live records?
My personal rankings. All right. We got It's Alive, A++. It should be S, but it's not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not being politically correct, guys. It's A++. Loco Live is my S tier Ramones live album. It's pretty fucking rough. They're playing like they don't give a shit, but I like that. I like how fast it is. I play guitar, so I like playing along to the fastest version of these songs, even though Johnny's cheating and only playing like every other chord. And then We're Out of Here. We're Out of Here. I mean, it's their official swan song, the last show, but they phoned it in. I'm sorry. That one's going in a C+.
So when It's Alive, Loco Live, We're Out of Here, right?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't know this one existed, but now that you...
Dude, it's badass, man.
I'm going to have to check it out, because I wish some of these albums were a little faster, so if that's what this is, I'll probably like it.
This is the fastest version of these songs that still sounds good.
I didn't know it existed, man. Now you gave me some... I said I was done with the Ramones forever after listening to these songs, but now I might have to actually listen to this one. But,
I might just post that on Instagram and be like, "This was a lie."
Oh wait, we gotta rank all the solo albums. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh geez, I wanted to listen to the I wanted to listen to the DD album, but I couldn't bring myself to it.
There's my printed tier list.
So much cooler like that. We should just have like the tier list be like a whiteboard we write on.
Sell this on the Punk Rock Radar merch store. I'll autograph it.
All right, put it on.
I'm sure you'll sell enough to almost cover the shipping cost on it.
I mean, Ben Weasel's selling the lyrics for $90. $90.
He's been doing that though.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that'd be cool to frame. Like, what does he want for it? $95. I was like, geez.
And he has all these rules about like what songs you can and can't choose. Anyway.
All right. So, Karina, anything else to say before we wrap this up? We did it fast, 35 minutes. I allotted an hour for this video.
That's impressive. No, nothing else.
All right, Dylan, anything else about not your favorite band, but like what, top 5 favorite band? How did you?
Yeah, definitely top 5. Yeah, everyone watching, ignore their tier list. Mine's the only one that matters. You can skip the parts where they're talking about their choices because it's null and void. No, I'm just kidding. It's interesting. I like how like self-conscious John is about what people think about his choices. I mean, it's, like shifting stuff around, like, oh, you made me think that.
I didn't move anything, to be fair. I definitely thought about it.
But verbalizing that concern.
I was definitely concerned, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the understand people. If you're on the Ramones Reddit subreddit, they put everything in S and A. What's the fun in that, dude? I mean, we're picking apart like little things, like what makes this album a B and what makes this one an A, and comparing stuff. That's what the fun is about it. I like all these albums for the most part, even the ones I said I fucking hate. I still listen to them. The worst Ramones records are better than most other bands' best albums. So, I mean, it is what it is, guys. We gotta put some shit in D and C. So, I kind of like Subterranean Jungle, but it's in my D. So, shit happens.
But can we just say one thing? Dear subreddits on bands.
Stop ranking shit, dude.
Yeah, like seriously.
It's so predictable.
You guys suck. And John, stop pleasing people.
I don't think I pleased them. I put brain drain and Mondo Bizarro in my A tier. I think I took a pretty big leap there. I lost my punk cred in the last Guess the Song video. I didn't know the Adolescents. I didn't know the Clash. I barely knew Black Flag.
What?
So I lost my credit anyway, so I'll just say
you're stomping it into the dirt.
I'm a free thinker. So there it is. It's all out on the table. I don't subscribe that you have to like certain bands to like punk rock, and I never will. So that's it. Anything else you guys want to say before we wrap up?
Thanks for watching.